Assalamu alaikum, friends. I hope you all are fine. Dear friends, today I will tell you the terrible story of a woman who beat a cat to death. As a result, she suffers severe consequences for it. Her own son narrated the story. He said, "After killing our cat, a few days later my mother died. We bathed her, put on the shroud, and started walking with the funeral cot when we saw another cot passing by us. But surprisingly, it is not a human bed, but a dead cat bed. However, I took my mother down to the grave. A sudden incident happened. To know, watch the video till the end. Friends, we make videos with a lot of effort. For that, you can just like the video and subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon. Now let's listen to the details. A doctor narrated the entire incident. He said, "A patient entered my chamber whose speech and mannerisms were strange. So I started taking notes. I told the patient to tell me what happened to you. The patient began to say, 'Doctor, my trouble started after marriage. Thus, I, my wife and my mother lived in one house. The reason I got married was because my mother was getting old. So I got married, so that my wife can help and serve mother. My mother was a very angry and harsh woman. She used to abuse and beat my wife every day. Even the neighbors used to complain about my mother. Meanwhile, the wife's patience was going out of the limit. So one day she came to me and said, 'Oh, my dear husband, I love you so much, but I can't bear this much pain. That's why I wanted to say, give me divorce, or put me in a room where it's just you and me.' I was very worried because where will I leave my elderly mother? My pain was increasing day by day. Seeing my pain, my mother said to me, 'Dear son, you're suffering a lot because of me, aren't you? Do you want to leave me alone and go somewhere? You can go, son. I am happy if you are happy.' Then I said, 'No, mother. I will not leave you anywhere. I will be by your side till your last breath.' Then I went to my wife and said, 'I will do what you say, and I will not leave my mother.' After hearing my words, the wife got angry and went to her father's house. But when she went there and saw she was pregnant, the family members began to tell her that, 'Oh, my poor daughter, divorce is a very bad thing. Go to your husband. We will make your husband's mother understand. Otherwise, your child will grow up without a father.' After that, my wife came to my house with her family members and informed my mother. She says, 'Okay, I will never hurt her. She is my son's wife.' After a few days, the child was born. From then on, my mother went back to her previous state. That is, becoming angry and hard. Now my mother started to trouble both my wife and children. She used to beat and abuse my little child. My daughter grew up, and she started hating her grandmother very much because she was giving her so much trouble. She was beaten for no reason. Finally, my wife began to curse for my mother. My wife said that if she died, they would be freed from suffering. My mother was actually very cruel. There's every human being, not even an animal, could escape her cruelty. One day, an event happened. We were eating when our pet cat came next to the table. At that time, the mother got up and beat the cat. The cat could not bear the pain and died. All of us are very sad except my mother. I call my mother. 'Mother, what did you do with the cat? Killed an innocent cat.' My mother was very angry after hearing my words and said, 'What will I do without killing? Will we give him food?' Then I buried the cat in the ground next to our house. I came home and saw my wife and children crying loudly. And from that day, strange things started happening in the house. Now the doctor was very worried after hearing the whole incident. The husband said to the doctor, "Doctor, I told you that my mother was very strong and fearless. But from the day she killed the cat, she became very weak and scared. An incident happened that night. I will never forget the incident. Doctor, when the night was half over, suddenly I heard many cats crying very much near our house. I opened the window and tried to chase them away, but they did not go away, and their scary noises were getting louder. I was very scared. I quickly entered the house. I feel like the cats are trying to tell me something, but I don't understand." Then suddenly he heard his mother's voice. I quickly went and saw Mother's face turned pale and she was shaking with fear. I asked, "Mother, what happened to you?" But she did not give any answer. She seems to have heard nothing. She lost consciousness. Despite many efforts, she did not regain consciousness. Our fear increased. Then, after some time, she regained consciousness. So, me, my wife and daughter all fell asleep. Asked the next morning, "Mother, what happened to you last night?" She didn't say anything this time either. This situation continued for a long time, and the cries of the cats started to increase. These days, my mother used to live in an abandoned house next to our house. A few black cats roamed around her. One day, I was sitting inside the house when I suddenly heard people shouting outside and saying, "Save the old woman, save her from under the wall." I got shocked and ran outside. I went to see my mother lying there. I called her for a long time, but she didn't answer. Blood is coming out from every part of her body. What should I do? Do I have any solution? Tears are coming out of my eyes like rain. Meanwhile, I see the cats roaming around the building. I thought to myself, how can such a weak cat throw such a big wall and take revenge from my mother? I was getting worried. I don't know what to do. Then we bathed Mother. When I put on the shroud and was about to bury her, I saw another cot being taken past our funeral cot. But it is not a person's bed, but it is a cat's bed. Many cats were carrying the cot with loud and terrible noises. They went to the cemetery before us and waiting for us. Despite all this, we went to the cemetery and buried my mother. The same night one incident happened, I saw my mother in a dream. She was loudly calling me, "Dear son, save me." I also saw her face became like a cat. Suddenly I woke up. I kept crying. The doctor had been listening to these incidents for so long. Now he said, "Doctor, what can I do now?" The doctor said, "Look, brother, I don't see any injury on your body. Rather, no doctor can solve it, because it is not a medical issue. So you should go to a scholar." Hearing this, the man went to a known scholar. "Tell him the whole story." Then the scholar said, "Brother, those cats don't look like ordinary cats. Rather, they may be genes. Since your mother killed their relative, they are hurting your mother. And because of that, I'm worried about what's wrong with your mother in the grave. So let's go to your mother's grave." Then they went to the grave, and after opening the grave, they faced a situation. They saw the cat that her mother had killed lying in the grave next to her mother. The man said, "I am almost going crazy to see this situation. then pick up the cat and bury it in another place. After that, I did not dream of my mother anymore. Dear viewers, there's a proverb that sin does not leave even the father. From this incident we learn that to show mercy to the whole creation, Allah Ta'ala will also show mercy to you. Allah Ta'ala will shower mercy on the one who has mercy on the created world. O Allah, we seek refuge from hardness of heart. Beautify our character, because you are the owner of everything, including beautiful characters and bad characters. Thanks for watching today's video till now. Stay well and stay healthy. Allah Hafiz.